Philadelphia Eagles came out on top as winners in a late night thriller against the hated Dallas Cowboys. There's no better way to kick off the season with a win against your hated divisional rival. Last night's game had it all. Fighting, spitting, chopped barbecue, weather delays, and elite quarterback play. Oh, and also stubborn coaching. The historical hatred between the Philadelphia Eagles and the Dallas Cowboys was on full display last night. We saw the hatred unfold even before the Dallas offense took an offensive snap when Dak Prescott and defensive tackle Jalen Carter got into a pretty disgusting altercation. Now, the initial footage from last night's game only showed Jalen Carter walking up to Dak Prescott from the defensive huddle. And there you saw in slow motion Carter spitting on Dak Prescott's jersey. And not to mention that was right in front of an NFL official. Carter was immediately disqualified from the game before he even took a defensive snap, which is unreal. But as the game progressed and as the sideline reports began to inquire more about the detail about the incident, we saw more footage from aerial views and other sideline NBC coverage that it revealed Dak Prescott actually spat in the direction of Jalen Carter first, which then prompted the response from Jalen to him spitting on Dak Prescott. I want to make things very clear. Both sides were wrong. And I think that Jalen did take it a step too far and he needs to be better. That type of behavior has no place on a championship squad and no place in the NFL. Nick Sirianni stresses the importance of discipline and playing with intelligence, and Carter's actions hurt the defensive game plan and his teammates. Jalen Carter is a very disruptive player in this league. Teams have to account for him at all times when he is on the field. Now, Jalen Carter did apologize after the game and then promised in front of a boatload of reporters that the incident will never happen again. He seemed remorseful. Jalen Hurts also reported that he did speak with Jalen Carter about the situation, and the two are reportedly on a quote-unquote same page. And if we stay on the defensive side for a bit, I want to say what most of us are probably thinking right now. Adoree Jackson looked like the worst football player ever last night. Listen, I know Vic Fangio earned our trust from last season, but it got to the point in the game where it appeared that Fangio's stubbornness was going to get to the best of the Eagles. And that stubbornness was shown in him constantly putting Adoree Jackson out on the field and taking up meaningful snaps. I'll be fair though. It is game one. Jalen Carter did get disqualified from the game, which caused a ripple effect throughout the defense. As we all know, an effective, disruptive pass rush can help out a secondary. And I'll also add that CeeDee Lamb is a tough cover, and he is a tough cover for the majority of cornerbacks in the NFL. But I do want to highlight some good things that did happen on the defensive side as the game progressed. Jahad Campbell is a monster. Felt like he was everywhere against the Dallas Cowboys on Thursday night. Had a huge pass breakup in the third quarter while it appears the Eagles were in Tampa 2 coverage. And it just flashes how disciplined and alert he is as a pass defender, as also a run defender. Campbell was also given partial credit on that forced fumble on Miles Sanders in the red zone. And as we all know, that was a crucial play in the game because Dallas was marching down the field. The rookie did have himself quite a debut. Some other key players I thought had a very, very solid game. Jordan Davis, I felt like he was disruptive. I felt like he was getting better as the game went on. He played a lot of defensive snaps. I think it was around 52. Might be wrong on that, but it was a lot of snaps, more than he usually plays. He kind of had to fill that role that Jalen Carter normally plays. I felt like he was shutting off a lot of double teams. He was disruptive. Byron Young and Josh Uche, they had themselves a game as well. I felt like they were constantly in the backfield too. Again, because of Jalen Carter's disqualification early on in the game, I think Byron Young got a lot of meaningful snaps and he made the most of his opportunity. Byron Young was also given partial credit to that forced fumble along with Jahad Campbell. So it was good to see, and it was an important note to take away from the game that when Byron Young does play, he can impact the game in meaningful ways. I felt like Josh Uche got into the backfield a lot. I was surprised. Again, Josh Uche played very, very well. Stayed true to his assignments, won most of his one-on-ones, didn't finish with any sacks, but I felt like he did a good job keeping Dak within the pocket. Dak didn't really scramble for a lot. And I felt like that was a big part of Josh Uche's presence. Overall, I think the defense got better as the game went on, as the game progressed. The weather delay did help them out in a very big way. But once they settled in and got consistent pressure, you saw how Dak was forced to make some very, very arid throws, some hospital balls, if you will. Defense really settled in nicely, got consistent pressure on Dak Prescott. They forced him to make a lot of hurried throws, rushed his clock a little bit. I was really impressed with the effort from the defensive line. Zach Bond. We all saw why he is an all-pro linebacker in this league. That play where he caught up to Miles Sanders to save a go-ahead touchdown was nothing short of incredible. That play alone shows you why he's so important to this defense. He also had a very big pass breakup in the end zone as well. It was a very beautiful play. Had his back turned towards the quarterback and still somehow was able just to have perfect coverage on the tight end. Just all around good coverage from Zach Bond. Beautiful play altogether. Now let's shift to the offense. Jalen Hurts is an elite quarterback, and I do not care if you disagree with me. Eagles won that game because of Jalen Hurts, and that's not even up for a debate. Jalen finished the game 19 of 23 for 152 passing yards. Hurts also led the team in rushing with 62 yards and had 2 rushing TDs of his own. Not to mention, 3 of those passes were throwaways, so we're not really counting those, and one of the other passes was a drop pass by Saquon Barkley. So, if you look at it, Jalen was 19 of 19 for the game. Now to the casual football watcher or the fantasy football junkie, there's nothing special about his stat lines, but real ball knowers, and if you truly sat there and watched the game, you saw how Jalen was completely under control the entire time of the game. We saw him kill that Dallas defense with his legs, his arms, and we saw Jalen just possess a level of cool and calmness even when the game seemed like it was getting out of control. It seemed like the offense was sputtering. It seems like it was just too consistent. Jalen found a way to will his team to victory. Jalen has proven time and time again in the fourth quarter he's one of the most dangerous quarterbacks in this league. Jalen's poise under duress all game was the reason why the Eagles came out with the W. He's just clutch. We just need to accept that fact about his game. Now, I will give credit when it's due. I felt like Kevin Patul and the offense had some very good responses to Dallas' early touchdown drives, but it appears that after the weather delay, Matt Eberflus made a lot of good adjustments on defense, and it made the Eagles almost very conservative towards the end of the game. So I will give credit to that. Now let's address the elephant in the room. Where was A.J. Brown? The all-pro wide receiver only had 1 reception for 8 yards, and that reception came late in the fourth quarter. Now, I will give Dallas some credit. It looked like all game they were bracketing AJ, and it looked like on longer routes they were sending an extra defender to kind of trail him. So I won't get too much on Kevin Patullo and kind of like phasing him out almost on the offensive side. On the flip side, I want to give kudos to Jalen for not forcing the issue to AJ Brown. I saw a few times from the broadcast coverage, Jalen did look at AJ's way quite a bit, but quickly saw the coverage and then went to his second read. So kudos to Jalen on that. The Eagles have a lot to clean up, especially on the defensive side of the house. The Eagles received 9 penalties for 110 yards against Dallas Thursday night, and Kansas City is on the schedule next. And you do not want to let these penalties dictate the outcome of games. But all in all, I am happy with a divisional win. It was ugly, but it was a win nonetheless, and they beat Dallas at home. Took care of business with MJ in the house, by the way. Oh, fun fact, Nick Sirianni and Jalen Hurts are 5-0 in season opener. That's my time, though. Thank you for dropping in. See you next week.